Welcome to this segment of Instructional Design Conversations. Today our topic is assessments. Assessment activities must target the objectives that we have specified. Often we forget about our objectives and evaluate learners on peripheral items. Remember, our objectives define what we deem to be important. Therefore, our assessments have to evaluate that. Assessment activities have to be rigorous and also ensure that we are confident that students have learned the material. So the question for today, what would you argue is the most important thing designers need to do when helping SMEs improve assessments? So I'll start us off with that one. I'm going to focus in on the development of rubrics. I think that the creation of a learning or the assessment rubric is really, really critical to help students identify exactly what they're going to be assessed on. And so I think once the assignment description has been articulated, then we need to focus in on the development of the rubrics, and often that's where you find out that you've missed some things. So I'll open it up for your input.
Well, a step even before that often is alignment. It's not uncommon to step into a revision situation or a new course development and realize that there are some really great assignments and there are objectives and they are missing each other.
Yeah.
So sometimes it takes that external set of eyes just to say, hey, wait a second, we've got a really important objective here. We have no assignment that's assessing it.
Right.
A question I often ask SME is, what do you think you'll get back? So what do you think students will construct or answer or write so that they begin imagining that product or that student performance? I think that helps them start thinking about then, is that acceptable, what's acceptable, and be able to start writing a rubric. So asking them what do you think you're going to get back when you ask that question? Or
Yeah, and I'd like to take that a step further. When you get back, 5 different versions of what you expected, what does that say to you? You haven't given enough information, you haven't shaped the assignment description or the rubric well enough that students really could map out what it was you were after.
And I think this is a field where if you're reviewing or revising a course that's run previously, the value of the data that you've got from last time round is enormous. And both student feedback comments about, I really enjoyed that of itself is not a sufficient criteria, but if students react positively to something, then that's good. And conversely, if they say, I found this extremely hard to do, you can't take that feedback and then ignore it in the sort of second round of that course. Or if you do, you just run the risk of repeating the same experiences. And the other thing is, what kind of mark distribution did you get out of it? If you got kind of clumping together at one end of a scale or another, that would be something to look at. It may not of itself be a problem, but certainly it would sort of focus my mind on thinking, has this differentiated effort sufficiently? Is the marking of this piece of work taken account of variation? So I think using previous data is very important here. If you've got it.
Yeah, and then you get, that raises a question about what are you trying to do with the assessment? Are you trying to differentiate? Or are you trying to see mastery?
Yeah.
Or what is the purpose of this particular assessment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and we're going to wrap up this segment, and we will see you in the next one.